We count on research to solve the world's biggest problems. But what if the biggest challenge isn't out there in the world, but actually inside the researcher's own mind? Today, we're digging into how personal bias can stand in the way of social good and what we can all do about it. Let's get into it. So let's just start with a huge question right off the bat. Is it even possible for research to be completely 100% unbiased? I mean, can we ever fully separate our own human perspectives, our hopes, our assumptions, from the cold, hard data? That's really the core dilemma we're going to unpack. All right, first up, let's really define the problem here. Why does this invisible thing, this bias, matter so much? Well, it all boils down to one absolutely critical word: trust. Without it, the entire reason for doing research, for seeking knowledge to make things better, it just starts to crumble. So what exactly is researcher bias? Look, it's not about someone in a lab coat deliberately trying to fake the results. Oh no, it's way more subtle than that. It's the personal baggage we all carry around, our hidden assumptions, our ingrained beliefs that can unintentionally steer a study in a certain direction. It's that human element silently creeping into the science. And here's the thing we have to get our heads around. This isn't about a few bad apples. This is a universal human challenge. Every single researcher is human, which means every single researcher has biases. The goal isn't to become some kind of robot with no perspective. It's to become aware of our biases and actively work to manage them. And believe me, the stakes here are incredibly high. On one side, you have the goal of research, right? Trustworthy findings that lead to credible conclusions and, hopefully, positive social outcomes. But on the flip side, if bias is left unchecked, we get the exact opposite. Flawed findings, credibility that's totally undermined, and real-world solutions that might actually do more harm than good. Okay, so if bias is such a fundamental human problem, how do we even begin to fight back? Well, the first part of the solution requires a deliberate, conscious effort. We need what you could call an ethical toolkit that every researcher can use to keep themselves and their work honest. And this toolkit can pretty much be broken down into a practical checklist. It means you're constantly evaluating the ethics of your work. You're actively hunting for your own blind spots. And this is a big one. You have to be willing to accept evidence that completely contradicts what you hoped you would find. It's about a deep commitment to the process, not to a specific outcome. And this connection is so direct. Being ethical and open-minded isn't just some abstract, nice-to-have ideal. Our source material really highlights this, pointing out that this is the very foundation that enhances the potential for real, positive social change. But a checklist alone isn't quite enough. The second part of the solution is even bigger. It's about adopting a whole new mindset. It's a way of thinking that builds on that ethical foundation and connects the work to the world in a much deeper way. This is what's known as the scholar-practitioner model, and it's all about tearing down that wall between academic theory in the ivory tower and actual real-world action. A scholar-practitioner isn't just observing problems from a distance, they're getting their hands dirty, actively involved in solving them, and bridging that critical gap between ideas and impact. With this model, the entire focus of the research just shifts. It's no longer just about publishing a paper. The ultimate test becomes its utility. Does this work actually help people? Does it serve a real need in society? Those questions become the guiding star for everything a researcher does. Okay, so we've looked at the problem of bias and a two-part solution for tackling it. But now let's get to the most important part, the payoff. Why does all this effort, the checklists, the mindset shift, actually matter? What's the end game here? Well, the path to making an impact becomes incredibly clear. It all starts with that internal work of managing your own personal bias. From there, you apply those rigorous ethical standards. Then you adopt that scholar-practitioner mindset, always connecting theory to what's happening on the ground. And the result of that whole process, real, tangible, positive social change. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. If we want to build a better world based on evidence, that entire effort has to stand on a rock-solid foundation of trust. Without that trust, even our best intentions can completely fall apart. So, this all brings us to one final, powerful question. After all the hard work, the self-reflection, and the rigorous standards, what is the ultimate point of it all? The answer is transformation. It's about taking credible, trustworthy findings and turning them into real actions, real policies, and real solutions that make a measurable difference in people's lives. So, as we wrap up, remember, this isn't just an issue for academics in a lab somewhere. It's about the power that trustworthy information holds for all of us. I'll leave you with this to think about. What's a big problem in your own community that you could start to tackle if you knew you could absolutely trust the research behind the solution? Definitely something to consider.